You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Phosphor, who says, "Rant about the Tales of series. Your great video about Fantasia made me want to know what you think of the rest of the games. What you know of them as well, even the ones you haven't played. Thanks, handsome." Most of my Tales of knowledge really starts and ends with Tales of Symphonia, which when I was 14 was my favorite game in the whole world. It's a GameCube exclusive, initially at least, RPG that had gotten really good reviews. I liked the art style of it. I liked that it seemed anime-esque, and I was a big anime fan at the time. I don't remember how I ended up buying it. I think I played it over the summer, so I had a lot of time to spend on this 50-hour game. And really what was most important to me about the game was that I connected with the characters, I liked the story and all that, but it was really the fact that I got into the Game FAQs forums community for the game that drew me in even deeper. Learning more about the deep lore and seeing people do challenge runs of the game and stuff like that because of the fact that I was in those forums for a brief while. And it just was, I considered it to be my number one favorite game for some time, even though, it's not like it was massively above my next favorites or anything, or other RPGs I liked. It was just one of the few RPGs I'd actually beaten, and connected with the characters, and the fact that it's more of an action RPG makes it just a lot easier to play endless hours of if you're somebody who at least at the time did not understand the more strategic elements of turn-based RPGs that are considered good, So Tales of games are super easy, and I've said many times that I think whatever Tales of game comes out in a particular year is for whoever happens to be 14 that year, whoever's a teenager, basically. The games are clearly aimed at teens. They have teen characters with teen drama. The plots usually tackle much darker, more adult concepts, but in very simplistic, ham-fisted kind of ways that are easy for even young people to connect with. They're just very teenaged games. The plots are all very predictable. It's all stuff you've seen in other RPGs before. So, Tales of Symphonia, still a solid game, but, a lot of my attachment to it had to do with the time and place. But, the funny thing is that the next game that came out, Tales of Legendia, did not come out in the U.S. And that had really bothered me because when I was younger, I very much wanted to play the games in order as they were coming out. If a series skipped a game, I was likely to just not care anymore. Or if it switched consoles to a console I didn't have, I wasn't going to get it when it came back to my console. It was kind of like, you either give me all the games or I'm not going to bother trying to care about this series, So, Tales of Legendia did not come out. Tales of the Abyss did. I did not want to buy it on the PS2. I didn't like the way the main character looked. I thought it looked like a boring game compared to Symphonia. I'm probably wrong, but whatever. That was how I felt at the time. Never picked it up. I did end up getting Tales of Fantasia for the Game Boy Advance, which is the least good version of Fantasia. It has really bad slowdown, and just overall, I know I played an amount of it. I don't remember how much. I did not beat it, but later my brother Victor played Tales of Vesperia. He was a big fan of that. He did a Yuri Lowell cosplay and all. I haven't played any of the other games. I have not played any of the Tales of games besides Symphonia and Fantasia. Most of my knowledge of the series comes from the fact that I have always been well-researched on JRPGs. Generally, I know people's feelings about them. And there's a couple of Tales of games that were, I think Tales of Grace's F was, one of the highest-rated RPGs on RP Gamer. Some of them have their own cult followings, for sure. It's really interesting how, because each game kind of is its own contained world, not unlike Final Fantasy, they all have their own kind of fan bases. But with the Tales of series, what I was hoping to do was to learn about all these games and how they've evolved, which ones are interesting, which ones hold up, are they worth going back to, and exploring just the depth of the franchise and how complex it gets at parts. But I did the Tales of Fantasia games. I did all the different versions of it essentially in one video. And the next one is Tales of Destiny. Well, the thing is that Tales of Destiny was originally a PS1 game, and you can get an English language version of the PS1 game, I believe. However, there was also a PS2 remake that was called like Director's Cut or something like that, which is clearly the better version. Like, way stepped up graphics, hugely stepped up mechanics. It's considered to have one of the best battle systems in the Tales series. So, like, this is the version that I would most prefer to play, but it has no English translation. There was a patch in the making, but the guy who was making it gave up, I guess. So, without that version, I tried to play a little of it in Japanese and see if I could maybe, like, play simultaneously the PS1 and PS2 version to get the Japanese and English, but it was just, it's a pain, and I could just do Destiny, but I also kind of figured that, most people really just care about Symphonia and a lot of the newer games. Like, there's far fewer people who've really looked into the whole background. And, like, while some of the older games are still popular, like Fantasia, just for sort of being the first and having been re-released a number of times, nonetheless, the main ones people remember are Symphonia, Abyss, Berseria now, Vesperia, Zestiria. Like, these are the ones that people really care about. And I didn't want to have to jump around in the timeline when covering these games because, like, I want to track their evolution. But it's just really hard to do that when a lot of them are not available in English. So, I'll decide what I want to do about it all later. I might just jump straight to Symphonia, maybe just tackle the games out of order. I have no idea if I decide to return to this. What would get me immediately would be if there was an English translation of the PS2 version of Destiny. I'd be right back in, but I don't know how likely that is to ever happen. So, we'll see.